Hey, No Code Ops, Phil here, and today I'm joined by Omar, who's the co-founder and CEO of Flowdash. Omar, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you, Phil?
Good, doing well. Great to have you on the Aha Moment demo show. Yeah, I'd love to learn a bit more about from you directly. What inspired Flowdash? What's kind of the high-level overview of the platform?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, at a high level, Flowdash is an ultra customizable work management platform for operation teams. So what it really is basically for companies that have a lot of manual processes behind the scenes, a tool for them to really bring structure and create custom workflows essentially in no code to manage that process a lot better. And our inspiration, the inspiration is I've built a lot of, business workflows in the past, internal tools as an engineer, and I've seen just how efficient it is when you have the right tools to get the work done. But at the same time, building everything from scratch takes 6 months. It's a long time. Not only that, but whenever the process changes and, as a company, you're always evolving, you always have to change the tool. And if engineering is the bottleneck, it's really, really slow. And
you're talking, you're preaching to the choir with this audience.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's really the inspiration. We're like, you know what, we can do better. We really want to build a tool that allows people, or the operators, the ones that are aware of the business process, the one that are iterating on them, to have the tools to build and modify, tweak these processes over time. But at the same time, recognizing that there are some integration points sometimes. And so really building a platform that serves both engineering teams to focus on what they care about, and operation teams and operators to really build a process with the tools they care about, and really having both of them work in harmony and deliver solution in a record time.
Love it. Well, on that amazing note, if you want to take over screen share and give us, like a demo of what an aha moment would be like for a user. So what situation would an ideal user be in, and walk us through an aha moment they would have on the platform. We'd love to see it.
Sounds good. Let me share my screen and we can dive through it. All right, here we are. Are you able to see my screen?
Perfectly.
Perfect. So here, I'm logged into Flowdash, and by default in Flowdash, kind of our core unit of work is called a workflow. And so in this example, let's assume we're onboarding restaurants. Maybe we're a company like DoorDash or maybe Uber Eats and so on. And we have restaurants that apply to become partners on our platform, and we want to have a process for onboarding them. Now, when I log in here, what you see here so far looks very familiar. It's a table, you have fields. Each field had a data type, kind of what you see in a spreadsheet or an Airtable and whatnot. Yep. But the first thing that is different is the idea of a process. And so if we go into Flow Builder, you have this visual workflow that defines how do you go from beginning to end as far as onboarding a new restaurant. And so in these stages, you go from new application. Maybe you have to first verify it if they have a Yelp page that's valid. If they do, it's a real business. We can move on, request some billing information. They would send them an email, get a form that they fill in, and you keep going on and on all the way till they're ready.
Does the user have their, does the end user who's being communicated with have their own access or dashboard or portal for themselves, or is it all done through email or something like that?
Yeah, so it's in between. So they don't have their own portal, but it's not through email. So we can send forms that will update the customer information. So in the case of requesting billing, and I'll show you that in a moment, it's going to send them an authenticated form telling them, hello, to continue, please input that information. And that's one thing that's actually really special about the platform is when they fill that in, that will automatically kick it off to the next stage, update the record with the new information, and you kind of move on.
And you don't need any of the additional information. You already know about them, and they don't have to refill it out, which is great.
Exactly. It's already kind of a custom
associated with an
form for this customer.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the next thing we do in here is, these actions is what we call them. They really allow you to embed some logic about your process. So here's an example. When you reject an application, you want to know why you rejected it. That's just good practice to record the reason. And so we can have a requirement that says, in order to reject a company, one of the fields that is required is the rejection reason. And I'll show you later.
Multiple types of field associated with a record, but to move it to a certain stage or a certain area, you can require that something has to be filled out.
Exactly. Similarly, if you want to move on to the Yelp page, we would have a requirement saying that we need to provide the Yelp website. Yep. So that's one type, but there's a lot more things you can do. Let's say in that request billing information, this is where we want to have another step. And steps are similar to what you see maybe in a Zap or something like that. And in this case, the Zap is to email a form. This is what I was mentioning earlier, where we would say, at this step, I want to email, and one of the fields that we have here is the point of contact email. And then the form, I have it created, I can show you later, but it's the request billing information and a custom message that would say, hello, first name, please complete your billing information.
Wow,
and so within this platform, we really can.
This is great.
Exactly. So we'll save this here. Some of the other ones I won't dive into, but if you want to trigger a Zap, you want to post to Slack, or maybe you want to integrate back to your core application through an API call. I mean, there's quite a lot you can do.
And I'm assuming you can search for data externally as well and bring it back into the process. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can make an API call, get some data, bring it back into the process, whether it's a third-party app or it's your own, custom application.
Great.
Cool. So maybe I'll take this and kind of show you where that happens now. Because the second big thing that is special about Flowdash is when you look at this, this record here, each of these can actually be expanded. And so each record has a full detailed page with some other information we have. But what's special is that we can customize this page. So if we go into layout builder and we say, okay, well, you know what?
It's like Airtable interfaces are softer, or I guess Stacker built in. Look at this.
Exactly. So it's all in one. And you really want to say, okay, well, we know we're looking for the Yelp page. Maybe that's the first thing we want to be doing. So how about we change the layout here? We make it 2-column. We bring in a text field. And to make it easier for people, we'll have some markdown that says, search on Google. It's a link that's pre-filled with the name and the city. And it's just going to show up. That way, every time you come in, just click, find the Yelp page, whatnot. Amazing. Other things we can do. You can have an iframe. That's something that people love actually using in here. So I'll have an iframe. And again, maybe this one's going to be a Google map of, what it is. And similarly in here,
say you have like a customer ID, you could preload their Zendesk field, their Zendesk page.
Exactly. Yeah. Zendesk front, anything you want really. And some of these, I guess the last one I'll show you is, let's say we have the Yelp website. Again, maybe we want to show it in here, and I'll kind of have the iframe here for it. And what that one's going to be is that Yelp URL that we have, but we only want to show it when that field is not empty, because otherwise it would just be an empty URL we don't have.
Oh, look at that.
So I'll kind of customize it and say when this is
logic. Here
not
we
empty,
go.
We'll have it and we'll save those changes.
I love it.
Cool. So now that we have this, let's actually go through the workflow, see what that looks like. Let's search it on Google here. Boom, the link opened up. We found it. Maybe we'll want to, either we modify it directly, we say the Yelp page it's found. We set that requirement.
Buttons with custom actions.
Exactly. And that requirement earlier, we said you cannot move forward unless there's a Yelp website filled in. So we're going to fill it in. It's going to come here. Now we're going to have this little iframe that we have. And if we go ahead and we request billing information, that's when it's going to, send us an email and ask us to fill in the information. So waiting for billing info.
Updates. Yeah.
The status has updated. The form that we specified is a form that I've, already created, requesting for this billing information. So you have a form builder here. I love
that you guys are thinking about data, the views of the data, the flows, all differently, like not all in the same exact object. That is super. I think that's something that sets us apart from some other platforms that I've seen. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of all, you have your record and then you have everything you need to run the business essentially. And that's getting data in, requesting data, pushing to other systems. And then there's a work management piece that I'll show you in a second. But yeah, this is the custom form. I get an email here saying, hey, hello, Kurt, please complete your billing information. You go in, you enter it, so maybe the business name here that I was looking at was, I believe it was Kokari here. So maybe I would just, say my legal name is Kokari LLC.
Yep.
This is the EIN, account type, and so on. And what you see here is now we're waiting for billing info. I'm going to submit it. And what happens here is the information actually already kind of updated from the form. And so that's a, a really cool thing where you're updating an existing record. And then he moved on to the next stage saying billing ready for review.
Amazing.
And so it kind of moved us along the pipeline.
So let me ask you this, like, what are like the 1 or 2 or 3, like, most common use cases of processes you see people using Flowdash internally at companies for?
Yeah, I would say whenever you have a set of tasks and a team that has to go through by them one by one with a repeatable process, it's a good fit. I mean, customer onboarding is a big one. We have some, for fintech companies, things like KYC process to verify that everyone is valid and you have the right information. We have some companies in healthcare that they were doing things like appointment credentialing. So it's actually pretty broad, but the common, the commonality is set process. You have a team to go through it, and you really want to have a rich experience that brings all the information in one place and guides you through the process.
Very cool. And then my last question for we close up here is, talk to me about, this all looks incredible, right? But one reason people move away from spreadsheets or, to stuff like this is not only the ease of view and access, and you actually, being able to, change data as it moves along a certain process in a structured capacity, but it's also permissioning and governance. Right? Like that the wrong person can't update the wrong field, or the right person has access to the right information. Like, how do you guys tackle permissioning and governance?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're right. When especially at scale, you have different people, different role, different permissions. So, if we go on the team side, you can have this roles and permission setting that allows you to define different access. So let's say you have someone which is doing the, let's say restaurant review, where what they're responsible is to verify that they're, a legit restaurant, but maybe they don't have access to the billing information because that's a little bit more sensitive. You could say that this role does not actually have access to the EIN, routing number, and so on.
Amazing.
And then something else you can do, and something that our customers really love, is let's say now your team is so big that you don't want everyone to be able to have access to every single record at all times, because that's just a liability to
right.
have.
So it's just the running user. You can, yeah.
Exactly. So you can say you can only see restaurants that are assigned to you. So maybe you have, 1,000 or 10,000, but every single person is only assigned to that subset they have to focus on. That's all they see. They don't see the broader set of, restaurants being onboarded. And so that's huge for security and just really making sure you only have access to what you need.
God, I love that this level of features isn't relegated to like dinosaurs like Salesforce. This is great. Cool. Well, listen, this was amazing, Omar. How can people find out more about Flowdash?
I mean, a few ways to find out more. I mean, for one is, we're always happy to just hop on a call, give a demo, help people build their processes. So that's one, just, going on flowdash.com, requesting a demo. Another option is just to go and sign in and start playing around, having fun. We have a lot of tutorials on YouTube, actually, for how to build some of these workflows, different use cases. So that's another route. If you just want to sign in, try it out, follow a tutorial and explore the platform. So those are the two main, ways. But yeah, we're always available. We love this stuff.
Well, Omar, this was incredible. Thanks for showing me around. And yeah, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, a pleasure. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.